I'm David Husband. Actually, second time today that someone else has introduced himself as David, by the way. I'm actually April Johnson. I'm a coach at Capital One up in Richmond. And we talked about coaching agility. So we broke it down into a couple of different categories. So there's the who does coaching, how they do it, spend a lot of time on how, and then a little tiny bit on where. But as we got into this conversation, we ended up needing to spend a fair amount of time on the definition of coaching. So coach versus scrum master, and coaching as a function versus coach as a role necessarily. So we identified several different activities that are essentially the responsibility of a coach, and then dug a little bit more into who might do that. So our list of who includes a bunch of different potential job roles, but the fundamental from here is that, in fact, it includes a bunch of different potential job roles that coaches could come from anywhere. One of the interesting pieces of our discussion is that from a coaching standpoint, it is useful to have a coach who has technical expertise when it comes to engineering practices. So one of the things we talked about was, well, if you aren't that coach, one of the ways to do that is to share coaching as a responsibility. Again, not a job title, it's an activity. And then we broke down some of the skills and tools that a coach uses, or coaching includes, starting with kind of the overall teaching the process, teaching practice, sharing experiences, all that kind of stuff. Then moved on to sort of the pre-production aspect, so before we start an actual Agile team, including some of modeling the values, some of the change management that happens up front. Then sort of finding a groove, so working with the team to really get consistent, establish their practices, and really kind of foster an environment of trust and acceptance of controlled failure. And then our last one is, all right, once the Rolling Stones one, keeping the band together, which is what we do when we actually get a team really moving, and that's, how we change things up, how we keep things tuned and improving. So, more now.